Here we are in the Netherlands, and we're near Heteren, and apparently this is where Easy Company under Moose Heiliger made their first attempt to cross the Rhine River, which looks very narrow. Apparently the current's quite strong here, probably because of the narrowness, and they couldn't get across to get the British paratroopers that were trapped when Operation Market Garden collapsed. So they had to go downriver a bit further, which we'll stop at shortly. But this is near the village of Heteren on the northeast side of the village, just by the highway bridge. Okay, here we are in Heteren. We're coming up on the dike, looking down at the Rhine River. There it is. And we're in a, looks like that's a little beach. There's a factory up here. We're on the Randwijkje dike, yeah. And I think looking down on this area is probably where the Germans were in the episode of Battle of Brothers with the Crossroads. This is probably, I'm not sure, we'll get to the monument here in just a minute, but we'll figure it out in a sec exactly where we are. I think we got a little ways to go. We'll find out. I believe we're supposed to be up here driving. I don't think it's an issue. So, I don't know if this is it yet. We'll see a little statue or a little plaque down at the bottom of the hill when we are at the location. I think it's a little bit further around, just ahead of us. So this was a patrol in October 1944. Dick Winters came out and with a small squad and found Germans set up with a machine gun up here on the top of the dike, and actually pointing to the north. North is to our right. We're heading west right now. You can see on the map, heading west. Alright, so I think we're coming up on the Crossroads, this next road that runs in. So we just turned out of the town of Heteren, and we just visited a very small museum with a bunch of soldiers and whatnot. Okay, so this is where the Germans were, in this field right here. Put the windows down. It's a very hot day. It's extremely warm today. It's 38 degrees according to the car, which is probably like pushing 100 degrees. So the Germans would have been in this field, camped here, and then this is also where Easy Company would have been once they captured this area. They would have been slugging it out in trench type warfare through this area. And then up above us here, in front of us, just off to the right, down this road here, is the plaque commemorating the charge. And then right around here, maybe by that light pole, would have been where the machine gun nest was. So it's actually been improved a bit since I was looking at the videos of this area. So coming across, I don't think it was this field. It was either this field or the next one over. So this is where the guys charged across and made it all happen. We'll get out and have a better look. So here we are at the Crossroads, a event written about in the Band of Brothers book, portrayed in one of the episodes, fairly detailed. We're looking up the crossroad, up the road that meets the main dike here. Right about here would have been a machine gun nest pointed this way, Germans. Easy Company would have come along this dike, I believe, on the far side. Got up on top of the dike, taken out some of the gunners on the machine guns, retreated down this side of the dike, and then from what I understand, the tree line or the fence line in the back of this field is where they began their charge. Dick Winters portrayed racing across this field, 200 meters, it looks about 200 meters, and then coming across the top of this road, which has been redone quite nicely lately, and looking down into a field of German troops just arising from the morning, and shooting from the hip, taking out one of the young men, possibly right in front of us here. And then Germans all throughout this area, artillery barrages starting up soon afterwards, Germans hiding in the culvert down here. So a very interesting time, as the gentleman at the museum in Hetteran just over here told me. It was only a few hours, and yet it received so much attention, probably because of its portrayal in the miniseries. And then once they had taken this area, they were starting trench warfare in this area back and forth to the Rhine, which is to the north of us here, about a mile. And yeah, just a very interesting part of the Band of Brothers tour, if you will. Why am I here? I don't know, because it was well portrayed. You know, when you see things that are well portrayed in movies, you want to actually see where they happened. And although the miniseries was shot in England, I feel like being here, they kind of nailed it as far as what I see, the layout of the land. The fence lines probably haven't changed much, if at all, in the last 70 years. So yeah, it definitely was well portrayed in the miniseries based on the layout of the land here. So there you go. Just a quick update on the Crossroads, northwest of Arnhem, Netherlands. July 27th, 2018. So Winters and his company would have scurried across the main dike here after the initial action of taking out the Germans, a machine gun at the Crossroads, and then would have headed down somewhere within feet of where I'm standing, down to this ditch slash line of fence line, and then began their charge across the field to those trees in the distance there, which is the Crossroads. The machine gun was up on the top of the dike. It was already neutralized, and then the Germans would have been on the far side of those trees. It's just interesting walking in the footsteps of history, especially well-documented history. You get so much information from the actual event that you can come back and see where it's where it all happened. I suppose that's why we go to places like Gettysburg National Park and places like that, just to kind of walk in the footsteps of history and see the actual places where it actually happened. So we just took a quick trip down to the Rhine River from the Crossroads, and we're coming back. What's interesting was as we pulled in, I saw this crowd and I figured, oh, that's a tour. Indeed it is. They're looking at the Crossroads battlefield. It's a Stephen Ambrose historical tour. How about that? All right. Currahee! Brain dead, they didn't get it. Oh well, too bad. Expected them all to yell back Currahee, but they didn't. So just up the river from Hetteran is this crossing, a ferry crossing now. And this is where Moose Heiliger and his team crossed the river and rescued the British paratroopers. Depending on which version of the story you hear. You can see the car ferry now taking people across. Back and forth, back and forth. So that kind of wraps it up here in the north for the northern outreaches of Easy Company's movements in the Operation Market Garden. Not long after this, they were sent to France for rest. We're here at this famous spot where Dick Winters was housed during World War II. And we had just come from the Crossroads area where we had bumped into the Stephen Ambrose historical tours. And I'm taking some pictures, and the gentleman that lives there comes out and says, "Come on, take pictures close." Like, wow, thank you. And then the bus rolls up and Stephen Ambrose Tours shows up, and they say, "Hey, you want to come take pictures? And here's the helmet." And they took a picture of us. So it was a pretty special visit. And then they're like, "Hey, we're going to be here tomorrow and here the next day, and you going to join us?" I'm like, "Oh, okay." We'll see what happens. That'll be fun.